Hi everyone, my name's Anne-Marie. Welcome to FabScraps card making project number 12. In today's episode we're going to make a gorgeous card using our Days Gone By collection. Now please don't forget you can also purchase your fab boxes with the collections that I'm using in, and you can have them sent anywhere in the world, all the details of which are on my blog. So please, take time just to give it 5 minutes and have a look. Because if you've seen any of the overviews for the collections, everything you see in the overview is what you get in your fab box. And it is just that, fab. So just have a look. Now, today's card is really pretty, and we're using lots of different elements from the Days Gone By collection. Again, everything for this project I should put in a detail list on my blog. I'll also put extra photos on there as well of both the inside and the outside of the card. So for anybody who prefers just to look at pictures, maybe that's for you. Take time just to have a look on there. There's hundreds of other projects on there that you can either watch or just check out the pictures and the details of how and what I've used to create them. I love hearing from you. You can always find me on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. All the links are always at the end of the video. So please be sure to say hello, give me a shout, let me know if you've enjoyed the videos, if they've ever given you any ideas. Now I'd like you to sit back and relax and take a look at today's tutorial. So for today's project we're using the FabScraps Days Gone By collection, and we're going to use one of the stencils. Now you get 2 stencils in the fab box for the Days Gone By collection. You get the roses and the dragonflies. In last week's, not last week's project, the project before, sorry, we used the dragonfly stencil. This week we're going to use the rose stencil. We're only using one of the roses, the smaller one, and we're only using it once on the front of the card. But I just wanted to show you the stencils because they're awesome, they're massive. They're as big as an 8x8 square card front, and they're so versatile. So we're going to be using that with white texture paste. Now the first thing we need for our card is our card base. I'm using an ivory card base because I think it tones in very well with the Days Gone By collection, because I can't guarantee it, but it does look as though they're all on an ivory core based paper for this collection, whereas a love story look like they're on a white core. Might be wrong, but it's just how it looks to me. So we're using a 7x5 inch card. I'm still going to use my bone folder and make sure I've got a nice sharp crease along the edge. And I'm going to show you for my new viewers the size of the 7x5 card to give you perspective at home. This is something I've designed. It's my cardometer to show you the size of the card. And now you can see my handmade stamp on the back of it showing my name and Fab 12, because this is project number 12. And then that way anybody you give the card to will know who's made it, and when they keep it forever they will be able to look at it and know that Anne-Marie made that one. So on our cardometer the largest size is the A4, A5, 7x5, that's the size that we're looking at today. Then we go down to the A6, A7 and the ATC being the smallest. Now I know my friends across the pond and in other areas around the world, your sizing is a little bit different. The A4 is folded in half becomes the A5, A5 folded in half becomes the A6. So we're working between the 2 sizes, and hopefully that gives you perspective of the size that we're actually going to be working on. So the first thing that we can do, we've used our bone folder to make sure we've got a nice sharp crease. We're going to create the inside. Now the inside of this card I think is a great idea for anybody who's tight on paper. So if you're running short of paper and you want the inside to match the outside and you maybe don't have much and you've only got a scrap left, I think it's the ideal way to, help the inside look like it's coordinating with the outside. I've taken a piece of just darker than ivory, it's more of a cream paper. I've cut it to fit the inside of the card with just a slight border. Now I've used some stamps, these could be any stamps at all. It just so happens these were tiny little stamps that I had. I think they came with a magazine a long time ago, and they're just background stamps for just something to fill a little bit of space, if you know what I mean. So there could be any flowers, anything smaller. And I've just positioned them. Now I'll show you why I've positioned them, because when we finish the inside, you will see they're in the right place. So I lay everything out on top of one another, and then I stamp where I want the stamps to go, and then I can put all the project together. Whereas you would be able to stamp them and then put everything on top and leave it on top, stick it down. So I have to kind of forward plan mine. So I've positioned them where they need to be on the inside. And I'm going to just take the back of the flat tape away, and so that I can add this to the inside of the card, like so. There we go. Press that down. Then I've got one scrap of paper from the Days Gone By collection, and I've simply cut it to the width of the actual, well, it's the length of the insert, and it's just a torn piece. I've got flat tape on the back of it, and I'm just going to add it to one side of the insert. So now, even without anything else, I can sort of think, oh yeah, that's Days Gone By collection, because of the colour tones and the way I've stamped the flowers. Again, I stamped one, the larger flower in black, and then just the little leaves in a dark green, because I knew it would match the paper. I've then taken 2 die cuts of leaves using the actual Days Gone By collection, and I've got just flat tape on the back of it. So I've just taken a few bits of scrap, and I can add these just to the side over the stamping. And then I've got one embellishment that I've taken from the embellishment pack that comes with the extra 8x8 papers that you receive in your fab box. I've stamped it with one of my own stamps from my stash. It says Best Wishes, and I'm going to simply position it just on an angle over the stamping and over the edges of the leaves. And that is our insert complete. How simple is that? And now you see why I positioned the stamping where I did. So I'll lay everything out, and then I think, oh yeah, I'm going to stamp there, there and there, because that will look as though it's coming away from the insert. So always, you know, just prepare and think, where would that look great? So there's enough room on there for a nice long message for this card, and it's going to turn in so well. So now we can do the outside of our card. I'm going to use my bone folder again, just to make sure I've still got that nice sharp finish on the crease. The back of the card I've cut out from the Days Gone By collection one of the main the dark green papers. On the back of it, I know because they're all double-sided, and sometimes it's just a shame to have to use something that's double-sided, but you get 2 sheets of each, so I've still got some left. So this is the size of the card less a couple of centimetres, not even centimetres, millimetres, just to give it a border around the edge. Now this is where our stencilings come in. I've cut out one of the embellishments from the Days Gone By collection, and it's a frame with a little birds on, and I've torn the edges and I've inked them, and then I've added one of the roses from the stencil, and I've used texture paste for that. So I'm hoping you can see that. It's quite rough, But I wanted that because I wanted the different texture with the papers. Now I've got flat tape on the back of this, and I'm simply going to add it to the front of the card, just to one side, and then we can add this roughly about there. So it's giving us a border around the edge with the dark background paper. And then we've got this section here. Now this section here, what I've done, I've cut out one of the pockets. And these are on a sheet with pockets and tags. I've picked the bird pocket to match. I've cut it out and I've put tape on 3 sides. And all I have to do is fold the edges. Now I've already done this in advance because I had to add the tape. So I've folded the edges and I've used my bone folder to make sure they've got a nice sharp score. And I'm simply folding them in so the edge is attached to the tape at the bottom, and the rest of the tape, because it's very sticky, is going to attach to the card. And I'm kind of marrying it up at the side of the frame that we've just added, so that it's sat next to it. I'm going to press that down and use my bone folder to make sure that is firmly attached. I've taken one of the tags that was on the sheet as well, and I've cut it out. I'm going to slip it into our pocket like that. I'm not going to stick it down. And then I've taken a second tag, and this one says Sending Love. This was included in the Days Gone By collection in the embellishments. And I've just added a little bit of ribbon. They're all double-sided. Now I'm not going to stick that down either, but I'm popping it in the pocket. So we've got 2 tags in there. Then at the other side, we're going to build kind of a design, just something a little bit different. I've taken one of the embellishments, I've stamped on it, and it just says "You mean the world to me." I've added a little gold button and some green ribbon that's the same as the ribbon on the actual tag. And I'm going to position it over part of the pocket and part of the actual texture of the rose. And then in front of it, I've die cut some leaves, and we're going to add those. I'm just going to give this a touch of silicone glue on the back and pop that down. I don't want to cover the birds up, so I'm just going to position that to the one corner. And then I've also taken some of the 8x8 paper, and I've die cut some of the leaves that we had, the same as the inside, and I've die cut those in just a couple of the papers that I'm adding over the top. Now I'm also going to add one to the side of the card as well, and I'm going to add the fern leaf there, and the other die cut leaves over the top like so. I've just got tape and foam pads on the back of the smaller leaves. There's also a larger leaf that's just stuck itself to me that I can add in the darker green paper. So I've just had a good time of using things in my stash to make the leaves, nothing particularly. And then I've cut out from the side of the actual paper in the Days Gone By collection, there's some borders, and I've cut out some of the little flowers that there is there. I've layered them with some stamens, and then I've cut the smaller flower out to put on the top of the stamens, and then just added a little pearl. And I can add these to the front of our card. This is a rolled rose that I've made just out of ivory cardstock that matches perfectly to the ivory. I would say for the actual texture and the ivory in the stamens, it just makes it all tone in. There we go. And that is our card finished. And we've got texture, we've got our flowers, we've built it up. It makes you see how easy it is to build up a card. When you see all these beautiful cards that have got so much detail on them and so much ornateness, once you see how you start building those flowers up and the leaves behind it, it can come together so quickly. We can still see the birds on the base of the paper, the birds on the pockets. We've got our moving tags that will come out. And it's just such a great card. Something a little bit different to do with your Days Gone By collection. Or maybe you want to substitute it and use something you've already got in your stash. The inside matches perfectly with the colours and the best wishes and the strip of our scrap paper that we've taken from the front. It just all works. It stands up. It's definitely going to stand on a mantelpiece. I love the flowers, I really do. You know I like my paper flowers, and it just all works so well. I love the birds, they're so cute, and the vintage feel, and the paper's inked so well. If you've got some vintage inks, they will hold the colour so beautifully. I do hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it's given you something to think about, something a little bit different. I do like our FabScraps videos because, not that I don't like the Anna ones, I do like the FabScrap ones because I can use everything in my stash and bring it all together and we can build on things. It's just for me a nice, I want to say mixture, but the base of it is the Days Gone By collection, that everything's from there apart from maybe the ivory cardstock, and it's just so pretty. I'm saying everything's from there, just the stamps and the dies obviously aren't. And check the blog because everything I do use, I should put a detailed list on there. Some of the dies that I've used for the leaves and the stamps, the leaves dies and then the stamps, they're not a branded stamp or die, they're just things I've got in my stash. They're quite old, I've had them a long time, but things that you have will probably work anyway. So just think about what you have and what you can use if you need a substitute. Please give me the thumbs up if you've enjoyed this, if you've enjoyed the, seeing the card come together, and if it's given you ideas and inspiration. I know so many of you watch and it just helps you think outside the box, and I think that's great. And maybe this isn't for you, maybe it's not a card that you would ever think about creating, but the pockets are something that you've taken an idea from, or the flowers. That's what it's all about. It's about being creative. So I would just like to say thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you next time.